Hey, curious youngsters, instead of wasting time and getting odd YouTube suggestions, why not spend a few minutes on Mr. Curiosity and actually learn something? 30 totally epic facts that you'll forget in 10 minutes, but these aren't just any facts. These will leave you completely amazed. For this and much more, here are 30 things you didn't know 5 minutes ago. The film industry constantly surprises us with hit movies, and Jim Carrey stands out among famous actors for starring in major films. He became the first actor with 3 #1 box office hits in a single year: 1994 with The Mask, Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber. We all know the famous video game company Rockstar Games, and did you know that in 2007 they allowed players to call a certain phone number to talk about what they thought was wrong in the United States? That's how, out of all of them, the best calls were played on a radio station inside Grand Theft Auto V. Let's see if you knew that, my friend. Even if you're not a movie fan, how long do you think the longest movie in the world is? You'd probably say at least 3 or 4 hours, but the answer is no. The movie Logistic from 2012 is the world's longest, running 857 hours, or 35 days and 17 hours. Even though it sounds funny. Until several years ago, the Columbia Broadcasting System network used to add bird sounds during golf tournament broadcasts because of the awkward silence that would occur. A man discovered it because bird sounds in the broadcast didn't match the region, so they stopped. If we're talking about strong animals, the silverback gorilla probably isn't among your first choices, but maybe it should be. These animals are so strong that they can lift about 800 kilos, and their grip could even crush a crocodile's skull. Imagine living in an area where floods are a constant reality. Well, this fact might make you laugh. Since 2019, farmers in a part of Bangladesh have chosen to raise ducks over chickens because if a flood occurs, these animals could easily float. Well thought out, gentlemen farmers. What's the strangest strategy you can think of to advertise a video game? With Rockstar Games, the answer is rather curious. When the video game was released, the developers paid different players to keep giving bad reviews about the game, since this gives it a bad reputation. It sparked interest, making it increasingly popular. This is Sour Sue, a woman from the 1900s who was never able to smile in her life. Eventually, a show with prizes was held for anyone who could make her smile, but no one succeeded. Interestingly, it was later found that she had facial paralysis, explaining her condition. Do blind people dream in color? No, at least not those born blind. Because people can't dream of colors they've never seen, it's said they usually dream of smells, emotions, and sounds instead. We all know the odd feeling when our fingers wrinkle after being in water for a while. As a fun fact, this happens because the blood cells under the skin shrink. In response to a nervous system signal, we get a better grip underwater. If you injure a finger nerve, that finger won't wrinkle in water anymore. Did you know bananas are slightly radioactive? It's true, but don't worry. You'd need to eat about 270 bananas daily for 7 years to even notice any effect. This is because they're rich in potassium, and any food with that characteristic becomes radioactive. Stay away from bananas, Timmy. Daily astronomical discoveries amaze us. Did you know which planet was first found by telescope? It's Uranus, which was discovered in 1781 by the astronomer William Herschel. Obviously, as you can imagine. This brought about a revolution in the astronomy of that time, since for the first time in history, the knowledge about the solar system was expanded. Every country has some laws, sometimes absurd, that we don't fully understand, but this one is the most remarkable. There are at least 4 places in the world where it is literally forbidden to die. These include Itsuzushima Island, Japan, Longyearbyen, Norway, Falciano del Masico, Italy, and Sarpurinx, France. For example, in Japan, it is because they want to maintain the purity of the place, so it is forbidden for anyone to die there. If we talk about superstitions, there are some that are a bit strange and people who take it to another level. In Japan, numbers 4 and 9 symbolize death, and everything has an explanation. This is because 4 is read as yawn or shy, with shi meaning death and 9 as ki or ku, where ku also means death. Interestingly, some hospitals have no rooms with these numbers. Did you know there's an organ that regenerates itself, huh? Yes, even though it sounds incredible, it's possible, and it's your liver. In this sense, you could say it's the only internal organ with this ability, unlike others, like your heart or your lungs. You could even lose up to 75% of it, but it would be able to completely regenerate itself in about a year, thanks to the amazing human body. Does the name Sylvan Goldman sound familiar? If not, he invented the modern shopping cart. You probably didn't know that after he created them. The man hired decoy shoppers to use his carts around a supermarket so he could demonstrate their usefulness. Some records are quite strange and curious. How old do you think the world's oldest cat was? If you guessed 10 or 15 years, you're wrong. The world's oldest domestic cat was named Crenpuff, though it's hard to believe he died in 2005 after living exactly 38 years and 3 days. We all know about the Titanic tragedy in 1912 when thousands died. However, you probably didn't know that among its survivors was the only Japanese person who made it out alive, Masabumi Ohosono. However, he was condemned to ostracism, or in other words, he lost his job and was labeled a coward by the Japanese press for not having died in the accident. Most likely, you've ridden a roller coaster at some point and enjoyed the ride, but maybe you've never really thought about its origin. The first roller coaster was originally built to move coal over a hill, and when people discovered the speed it could reach, they started paying a few cents to ride it. We know many interesting historical figures, but did you know a thief in 1920 was widely loved? He was a man nicknamed Pretty Boy Floyd, who became known for destroying mortgage papers during his bank robberies. This supposedly freed hundreds of people from their debts, which practically made him a hero to them. Good job, Pretty Boy. If you thought your school or university was very strict about uniforms or even your appearance, well, in Tokyo, this could be even more extreme, since in some institutes, if a person's hair isn't black, the student then has to bring baby pictures to school just to prove that their hair really isn't dyed. Even if you're fascinated by sea animals, this fact will surprise you. Jellyfish have survived for 650 million years, and they don't have a brain, heart, or blood. In fact, their skin is so thin that oxygen and their metabolic waste can diffuse in and out, which is why they don't need blood. If we're talking about classic Italian singers, Adriano Celentano is definitely one of them. Identify the main idea and key details. Remove redundant phrasing. Condense descriptive clauses. Preserve proper names and events. Ensure the original perspective is kept. Maintain grammatical correctness. Interestingly, his goal was to prove Italians liked anything sounding American, and the song was a huge success. As incredible as it may sound, there's an interesting fact about trees that you might not know, and it's that some species can actually make it rain. Yes, just like it sounds, because this happens when they're thirsty. Trees are capable of releasing microbes and particles into the air that basically help water condense, which ends up creating clouds with a high chance of rain. How interesting, Mother Nature. We all know about the unfortunate attack on the Twin Towers on September 11, 2001. However, some famous people were saved from being there that same day, like Michael Jackson. Yes, Michael Jackson had a meeting in the Twin Towers that very day, but his sister said he overslept after a long talk with his mother the day before, so he wasn't there. Lately, we've become quite familiar with antibacterial products like alcohol or disinfectants. But did you know that some metals, like bronze or brass, are antibacterial? They can actually sterilize themselves. For example, a brass doorknob may begin to sterilize itself roughly 8 hours after being touched. Speaking of dangerous places, the internet is full of hackers or malicious people looking for similar targets. In fact, a study has revealed that a hacking attack occurs every 39 seconds on average on the internet. So you might want to be a little more careful with the information you post. People handle stress differently. If you've watched a relaxing video to feel better, It actually works. It's not just in your head. A University of Alabama study found that watching a full campfire video with sound can lower blood pressure and help you relax. Now that's relaxing, my friend. Most likely, if you've ever had a job, you felt satisfied receiving your salary after a certain period of time. But in ancient times, this worked a little differently. For example, before Egyptians used coins for payment, slaves were paid only with bread and beer. You've probably seen a video of a beekeeper in their characteristic white suit doing their job. But did you know why they wear this color? Beekeepers wear white suits because bees are less attracted to white than to red or black, making their work easier. Subscribe.